We have a report out today from Ryan Riley at HuffPost about Eric Holder taking another step in the right direction on drug policy. Quote, the Justice Department is formally backing a proposal being considered by the U.S. Sentencing Commission that would shorten the amount of time that federal drug offenders currently behind bars would have to spend in prison. The proposal would apply only to nonviolent drug offenders and would be expected to save taxpayers $2.4 billion. That's a lot of money. The U.S. Sentencing Commission, which has already approved a proposal to lower certain drug sentencing guidelines, will vote next month on whether to make those changes retroactive. So, in other words, what this means is let out all the nonviolent drug offenders earlier. And they're even willing now to consider doing it retroactively, which is not the goofy idea of let's draw the line right now and from here on out we'll, sentence people more lightly when it's a nonviolent drug offense. What they're actually considering is, how about we actually look at the people who are already in jail for nonviolent drug offenses and maybe let them out early? Okay, now we're talking. So let me give you some details on that specific subset of the prison population. Again, nonviolent drug offenders. In 1980, the number of nonviolent drug offenders in federal prison was 23,900. Okay. I still think that's fucked up to even have that many people, but that's not all that much. 23,900? Now, by 1990, 10 years later, because of the drug war, it ballooned to 177,968 people. That's incredible. Over a 10-year period, that many more people being locked up. You want to know what it is today? Over 350,000 people. When I read a number like that, it's screaming out in my head like one of those bright flashing lights that 350,000 people, their lives are being ruined. They didn't do anything wrong. Those 350,000 people are innocent. That's not a crime. A nonviolent drug offense. That's not a crime. In other words, if you're selling like a small amount or a moderate amount of marijuana or cocaine, or you're doing, a small amount or a moderate amount of cocaine or marijuana, fuck, even if you're doing it every day, okay? I don't think you're a criminal. I don't think the daily coke user is any more or less a criminal as the daily Adderall user. And by the way, the pharmacology of the two drugs, very similar. The way it reacts in your body, very similar. The high, very similar. I don't think anybody who smokes marijuana on a daily basis, they're certainly not criminals. Is Bill Maher a criminal? Is Joe Rogan a criminal? Are, almost 50% of the world's comedians, the funniest comedians, criminals? Marijuana's not my drug, but I do other drugs. Am I a criminal? No, I'm a law-abiding citizen who works for a living and, has my own passions and my own hobbies, etc., etc. The idea that we lock people up for doing a substance when they're not hurting anybody else, that's basically like saying we should lock up people who drink whiskey. Or we should lock up, did you have a few Coronas last night? We're going to throw you in jail. And also if you look at the studies on drug intake, they found that alcohol is the 5th worst drug in the world. So when you rank the lethality of different drugs, alcohol is number 5. Weed doesn't even crack the top 10. Again, it's stunning, man. It's stunning how there's no consistency in our drug laws. Like, I get it. If we wanted to live in a crazy society where they were just against all substances, fine, but ban all substances then. Get rid of caffeine, get rid of Red Bull, get rid of Monster Energy drinks, get rid of antidepressants, get rid of Valium and Klonopin and Xanax and, I don't know, you name it. Did I say coffee yet? Yes, coffee too. Got to get rid of all alcohol, ban all these different substances, Tylenol, Advil. But they don't do it. They don't do it. There's certain ones we say, well, we approve of that one and we approve of that one, but we don't approve of those. And when you look at the history of the drug war, too, you find that a lot of the laws on the books that started banning substances, number one, they came late. They came in the 1900s. They weren't like always like that in the U.S. You used to be able to go to the store and buy, different derivatives of opium. It was nothing. But the reason why a lot of these laws came on the books in the first place is for racist reasons. So, for example, when we had the Chinese immigrants as slaves building the railroad, you know what they would do? They're well known for having opium dens, and they would smoke opium at night. Well, the white workers were afraid that their daughters would go to the opium dens and hang out with the Asian people, the Chinese people, and then that they would have sex. So they banned opium. It's really amazing when you look at the history, man, and it goes on and on. I mean, you name it. Marijuana, of course, was typically associated with the African-American population and the Hispanic population, and they said, okay, we're going to ban that. I don't know if peyote was specifically banned or hallucinogens were specifically banned because Native Americans used them way back, but that's usually the thinking that goes into it. The thinking is we want to criminalize this certain segment of the population, so just ban the substance, and then if people are just nonviolent, minding their business, having a substance, well, you get to lock them up now. It's insanity, man, and it's only getting worse and worse and worse because once the drug war officially started, since the drug war started, we've spent over $1 trillion on it. And you know what happened? People are more likely to use drugs now. So we spent $1 trillion, flushed it down the toilet. We flushed it down the toilet because drug use is even higher now. And by the way, in the meantime, we killed over 60,000 people in a literal war on the border. And also, we made the cartels powerful. Just like that's how the mafia became strong in the U.S. When we had alcohol prohibition, guess what happened? The mafia started selling alcohol. They sold them to the speakeasies. So they got rich off of selling alcohol on the black market. Because the demand for the alcohol was always there, and if you're not going to get it from legitimate businesses because they banned the legal sale of it, you're going to get it from the mafia. So that made the mafia strong, Prohibition made the mafia strong, and Prohibition against marijuana makes the cartels in Mexico strong. Look, this is just a matter of historical analysis and breaking things down and understanding the unintended consequences of goofy policies like prohibition on drugs. And this is definitely a step in the right direction to say let's limit the amount of time that these nonviolent drug offenders spend behind bars. But I would go further. I would let them out.